Welcome back to Crime into Bed. Sorry for being late.
This is the podcast where we cozy up to crime, though, and we were getting a little cozy. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Philesha. Yeah, we had sort of an internet crash, so apologies. We're only 5 minutes late this time, so we're making progress.
We're getting there.
You're not just seeing me up here without my co-host.
Right. So I did want to take a moment. We have spent this week, as we mentioned in a previous podcast, that we wanted to spin this negativity into something positive. So this past week, we have had two very positive interactions, but one of them that I wanted to specifically mention was an interaction with a lady out of Cabot named Jennifer Gobble. And Jennifer Gobble is a lady who, she has a service heart. She wants to do good in her community and give back to humanity, because this world can be a dark place sometimes.
Yeah, we know.
But as we've experienced. So I just wanted to take a minute to kind of read something that she and I discussed today and give her a little event that she has upcoming, some promotion. So Lonoke County, get ready to shop for a cause. On Saturday, August the 29th, Miss Jennifer Gobble will be hosting a 50-cent community event at the 16th Section Community Center in Austin, Arkansas. From 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., volunteers, donors, and early access pass holders can shop while the kids enjoy, or adults enjoy, the board games, the playground, and a special craft area. There will be free donuts and coffee while supplies last, and that is going to be donated by the number 2 crew.
Is that where they pick up dog poo?
That's where they pick up dog poo. But it goes hand in hand with the nonprofit that all of the proceeds for this event will be going to, which is the Cabot Animal Shelter. So they will have animals there that you can adopt on the spot from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. that day. If you wanted to get involved in this event, Jennifer is accepting donations until 8 p.m. the night before the event. So until 8 p.m. on August the 28th, you can donate financially. Right now, she is in the process of making this a nonprofit organization. But right now, the only Cash App that she can accept funds to is $ Jennifer Gobble, all one word, JENNIFER GOBBLE. So if you wanted to donate to her cause for the purchase of hot dogs or buns or chips or donuts or coffee, or just because you have a heart of giving and you want to give back, that would be spectacular. She would love to have those donations.
We'll put all this on our Facebook.
Yes, we will post this on the Facebook.
We'll share.
Yeah, we did have a phone call with her today, and we did record that audio for all of this information. But yeah, we will share this definitely on our Facebook and on our TikTok. But all of these proceeds will benefit the Cabot Animal Shelter. So come shop, play, adopt, make a difference for Lonoke County, 50 cents at a time. I mean, it's a great cause.
Deal.
I do also want to give a shout out to JJ's Closet in Searcy, Arkansas. You guys showed up and showed out for that family in need in White County this week, as did Tanya's Consignment. So
yes,
thank you for what you did. I'm gonna cry again, but thank you for everything that you did for that family.
So, and it's very important that we have people who actually have a heart to help nonprofit organizations, because the episode that we're going to get in today is going to be covering someone who really didn't have the best intentions when it came to nonprofit organizations, and you will learn what I mean in this week's episode.
Yeah.
Last week, Mom, if you want to kind of go over.
Sure. Absolutely. Last week's episode, we mentioned that we would be covering the allegations that Allison Dougan faced while being the CEO and operating AMD Consulting.
So, we believe this particular case deserves an episode all on its own, not only because a hardworking businessman alleged that he lost $15,000, but because the court ultimately entered a judgment in the same amount.
That's amazing. But this is not just a story about a lawsuit from the past. We have reason to believe that AMD Consulting may now be undergoing a public-facing rebrand.
And if the same services are being offered under a different name, potential clients may have no idea what happened the first time or what was alleged in this lawsuit.
Right. And that matters because another unsuspecting client could potentially find themselves in a very similar situation. Money paid, promises allegedly left unfulfilled, and a courtroom becoming their last remaining option.
So tonight we're following the paper trail, or the digital trail, because we will be going digital today, where we're going to examine what was promised, what was paid, and what the plaintiff alleged, how Allison responded to those things, and what the court ultimately shows.
And because a new name may change the branding, it does not erase the receipts. The case that we're looking at is Protomics Incorporated versus Allison Dougan, an AMD Consultation Firm, LLC. It was filed in Marion County Circuit Court in Arkansas under case number 45CV-23-52.
Before we get into the messages, the contract, and the memorable first letter, one rule: a complaint contains the plaintiff's allegations. A response contains the defendant's account. Neither becomes automatically true. Just because somebody filed it does not mean those are the facts.
Right. So we will label allegations, Allison's account, and actual court rulings. Those are three very different categories.
The plaintiff, Protomics, described itself as a Georgia company working on nuclear fusion research and a concept it called Trinitex. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
We apologize for the misspelling or the mispronunciation.
we're going to go with Trinitex.
Trinitex, yeah, that's what it looks like.
According to the complaint, the company went to Upwork in the summer of 2022, looking for a grant writer, someone who could identify funding opportunities and turn highly technical research into competitive grant applications.
Can I just throw in here that I didn't know that was a thing? Like, I didn't know people looked for people to do that. So that search led to Allison Dougan and AMD Consulting. And the lawsuit names the business more formally as AMD Consultation Firm, LLC, but the messages and contract often shorten that to AMD Consulting. Naming that difference shows up throughout the record. So when we say AMD, we mean the consulting business named as a defendant or the defendant.
And the earliest communication attached to the lawsuit is labeled Exhibit A. It is Allison's initial pitch to the prospective client. In many ways, it sets the tone for everything that follows. For this next portion, we're going to shift gears and put on our grammar police badges, which my mom loves. So bear with us as we work through this letter line by line, because we aren't pointing out these mistakes simply to be petty. Allison was offering professional grant writing services where clarity, accuracy, and attention to detail are supposed to be part of the product. As we read through the letter, you'll quickly understand why every grammatical error, punctuation mistake, and inconsistency deserves a closer look.
Oh.
We're going to pull this up, and you
Okay.
guys can follow along with us as we kind of read through this. Let me get this.
Just so you
Hold up.
guys know, I'm so excited about this right now.
Let's see. Oh, okay.
We'll read through
We'll just
it,
keep
I guess.
going.
Yes,
Internet issues, as we said.
you can try and pull it up while we read if you'd like. So anyway, the message is timestamped 10:05 p.m. Eastern on July 5th, 2022. It begins, quote, "Good afternoon, Mr. Callahan.
First red mark. When you address a person directly, there should be a comma after the greeting. Good afternoon, comma, Mr. Callahan. That is a punctuation error right off the bat. There is also a factual inconsistency with the greeting. The platform says it was after 10 o'clock at night in the Eastern time zone, but the message says good afternoon. She closes by wishing him a spectacular evening, which actually fits the time step better.
Good sleuthing. Then the message says, quote, I'm going to be upfront with you by saying at the moment I do not know much about nuclear fusion. Let me go back and reread that the way that she said it. I'm going to be upfront with you by saying at the moment I do not know much about nuclear fusion.
Upfront is not necessarily wrong there, although upfront is often cleaner when it functions as an adjective. The larger problem is the construction. I'm going to be upfront with you at the moment. I do not know. Sorry, let me. I'm going to be upfront with you in what do you call that, Mom?
Colon.
A colon. At the moment, comma. I do not know much about nuclear fusion. Would be direct and correctly punctuated as written by saying at the moment is clumsy, and the introductory phase at the moment should be set off by a comma.
But the important substance is the admission. She did not know much about nuclear fusion when she approached a nuclear fusion company about writing its grants. I picked up on that.
Not knowing the field on day one doesn't automatically disqualify a grant writer. The question is whether the writer has the time, the method, and the support to get from I don't know this field to a reliable application that becomes a central ladder.
And Allison continues, quote, the main reason is because the story about your son. That sentence does not quite connect. The main reason is the story about your son would work. So would the main reason is because of the story about your son. But the reason is because the story is a broken construction. And some would say a dangling participle.
The next passage is where the sales pitch becomes extraordinary.
I was hoping you put this in there.
She writes that she too is a prodigy. Specifically, that she was coined a political prodigy. There are a few writing issues packed into that phrase. The word to is parenthetical and would read more cleanly with commas. I, too, with two O's, am a prodigy. A person is normally called or dubbed something. A word or phrase is what gets coined. And political prodigy does not need capital letters unless it is a formal title, which the filing does not establish.
Well,
I wish you guys could read this for yourself. I hate that it crashed.
You're going to have to get it pulled up at the end of the episode because when I read it, I was like, Philesha, did you read this?
Okay, so you keep reading, and I will pull that up.
Okay. This is also the point where we separate a self-description from a verified credential. The court exhibit shows that Allison used the phrase, does not contain evidence proving that an independent institution had formally given her that title, and the court made no finding about it. She then writes, quote, I graduated high school at 13, had my first degree by 15, my second degree by 18, and I'm working on my third now while running my grant writing business. Wasn't she homeschooled? The clearest typo is my second, my 18. In context, that is almost certainly supposed to be my second by 18. Grant writing business would also normally take a hyphen because the two words work together to describe the business. So that sentence in and of itself uses personal achievements to answer the concern she has just raised about lacking subject matter knowledge. That is persuasion, not documentation. The exhibit gives us the claim, but it does not attach records verifying the ages or degrees. Thank you. So then in her next sentence, she raises the stakes a little bit here, guys. She says, quote, I have a selective eidetic memory, an extremely high IQ, and can read nearly 20,000 words per minute if I need to. If I need also is how that reads. Sorry. My grammar got the best of me there for a second.
She also spells it T-O-O. If I'm not mistaken,
that means also.
That means excessive. That's
in addition to.
No.
Also.
Girl, you are excessive.
Then there is the claim itself. 20,000 words per minute works out to more than 300 words every second if we use a rough estimate of 300 words on a printed page. That is around 67 pages in 1 minute. More than one page every second. I'm just curious, if she can read that many words per second, how many times has she read the Bible? We cannot declare the claim false. We have no standardized testing. But it is an exceptional self-reported claim and a letter seeking paid work. The same goes for selective eidetic memory and an extremely high IQ. The filing contains no test results, and selective is never defined. You guys, if my face of judgment is coming across on the screen, I do apologize. So Allison tells Mr. Callahan that his PowerPoint outlining his son's paper would be perfect for grants. She writes that she would have no problem learning the material well enough to draft and submit the proposals.
Yeah, I have it pulled up now so you guys can follow along with us and just see the grammar for yourself. Just go back up and you guys can see just a little bit of what we were talking
also,
about.
this is all public record. It is contained in the complaint and is an exhibit. And I highly suggest that you go back and pull that complaint up on Arkansas Court Connect, which is the resource that we use, and just give it a read.
A PowerPoint to outline Thomas's paper is awkward. A PowerPoint that outlines Thomas's paper is clearer, and draft and submit grant proposals is cleaner than draft the proposals for grants.
But the bigger inconsistency is between the certainty and the admitted experience. Yes. In one breath, she says she does not know much about nuclear fusion. In the next, she says she would have no problem learning enough to handle the proposals. Confidence is, of course, not misconduct. It does, however, create an expectation that the promised learning curve will show up in the work.
Then it comes to this sentence, quote, what I would need from you to see if we are a good fit is to see what exactly you're looking for when it comes to grants and what you expect of me, exclamation point.
We all know the train I'm fixing to get on here.
All aboard.
Should be you are. And the same mistake appears in the next paragraph. To see is also repeated. A clean version is, or should be read, or should be written. To determine whether we are a good fit, I would need to know exactly what you're expecting. I would need to know exactly what you're looking for and what you expect from me. Although contractions are not really good when you're writing like professional letters, but hey,
She's a political prodigy, not a
not a
grammatical.
letter writing prodigy apparently. She should have
So-
read that letter like speedy quick.
Going into the next paragraph, it begins, quote, depending on what you're looking for,
Again.
with the same your versus your you are mistake, it continues. Then that will determine how we continue together and how you'll need to hire me. We need to read this letter. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we need. Go ahead.
I think that was not taken in context.
Maybe you
earlier.
should read the
And how you'll need to
entire
hire me.
letter. Because,
Depending on what you're
she must have skills that we're not.
Yeah. So, depending on what you're looking for, as in how much, etc., that will determine how we continue together and how you'll need to hire me. Oh, okay. So it'll explain later on.
Okay. So depending on, and then that will determine, duplicate the same grammatical job. Girl. This is my grammatical prodigy over here.
ChatGPT did this for me. I'll be
You
completely
could-
honest. I am not a
She
grammar.
could have done that though.
You know me.
I know.
Anything I write is just personal thing. Like in my diary, my mom.
Red pen. Red pen.
I'm totally being facetious, but
She is. Yeah. She doesn't have a journal, but if she did, I would be marking it with a red pen. Depending on, and then that will determine, duplicate the same grammatical job. But you could say, what you're looking for will determine how we proceed, or depending on the scope, we can decide how to proceed. Using both makes the same sentence wobble, but it makes it work better than repeating yourself.
Allison says she does both hourly and retainers. That is not parallel. Hourly describes a billing method. Retainers are agreements or fees. I offer hourly billing, and hourly and monthly retainer agreements would compare like with like.
Yeah. She describes a fee that, quote, puts me on speed dial and has me working the entire month. A fee cannot literally put her on speed dial or do the working. Better to write, under a monthly retainer, I remain available throughout the month.
Okay, got it. Near the end, sign and NDA should be. Okay, so near the end of the letter, she says sign and NDA should be sign and NDA. A comma belongs after much more, comma, and we can set it up, leaves it vague, the agreement, a call, or the engagement.
And to be clear, she was referring to a non-disclosure agreement. And did she like type that out like NDA, non-disclosure agreement, or did she ever
She says, I'm excited to see how we can work together. If I need to sign an NDA.
And.
Yes, that's where she says
Yeah.
and. Before you tell me much more, let me know and we can set it up. We can also get on a call.
Blah, 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 her number is.
Yeah, we can also get on a call to discuss it if that would be easier. It's fake. Just kidding. The cell phone, the email that is showing here is fake. It's not.
It's public record, but it's fake.
We know it's fake because it's bounced back. We've tried to reach out to them. So
She includes a phone number and email address, like we just discussed. We're not reading either one aloud, but you can pull them up on the letter in the complaint. The line does not end with a period, so that is another punctuation omission.
Mm-hmm. Finally, most every sentence ends with an exclamation point. That is not a strict grammar violation. It is a tone issue. In a professional proposal, especially one asking to work on technical grant applications, the consistent exclamation points can make the message feel less measured on the or less measured than the subject demands.
Right, I noticed that. It's like, why do you keep yelling at this guy? Why are you so excited
Give
to yell?
me a grant.
Give me money. I shall be on call. Anyway, so the Exhibit A summary is this. Multiple clear proofreading errors, several awkward constructions, a mismatch between the timestamp and the greeting, and several extraordinary claims presented without support in the exhibit. None of those points to Allison as not being able to do the job or proving that, but together they matter because the work she was selling was writing precise, persuasive grants for competitive purposes.
Absolutely. 6 days later, on July 11th. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wait, she's getting excited.
Buckle up,
Something
you guys.
about to happen.
So 6 days later,
I gotta
on
get a drink.
July 11th, the parties documented a grant writing arrangement. The written agreement calls for a $4,000 monthly retainer and allows either party to terminate within 14 business days written notice.
The filed copy contains Allison's signature dated July 11th with the title CEO and Grant Writer. The Protomic signature block is blank, and that raises an execution question, but the exhibit alone does not let us declare the agreement unenforceable, but the parties' conduct here also matter.
Mm-hmm. The contract has its own Exhibit A separate from the court. So that contract attachment is the scope of the services, and in that scope, a completely different company name appears not once but twice.
What?
Mm-hmm.
We're about to have fun with this one. It says Allison will research funders for the L Exchange and maintain communication with the L Exchange. But this agreement is supposed to be with Protomics.
It appears like another client's language remained in the template. She did not copy and paste correctly. She wants to learn nuclear fusion.
And apparently can do so in a second.
We just need to sit with that for she wants to learn nuclear fusion and cannot punctuate correctly, and she can't copy and paste correctly. Allegedly, in my opinion. So anyway, we cannot say why that does not, we cannot say why, and that does not automatically cancel a contract, but it is unmistakable inconsistency, especially when the service is a professional writing
business.
Oh my gosh.
The business name shifts too. The contract says, can I just throw this in here? When I was in paralegal school many years ago, you were like 2-3 years old, like Elijah's age, right? The first thing we learned in contract law was that when you put a business name and you want to refer to it as a shortened version later on, the first time you spelled out the entire business name, you in parentheses and in quotations then put, I'm going to, like, AMD Consulting. So that way you can refer to it AMD Consulting throughout the rest of the document. I mean, that is contract writing rule 101, okay? So the business name shifts too. The contract says AMD Consulting. The lawsuit names AMD Consultation Firm, LLC. Allison's title changes from CEO and grant writer to executive grant writer and later to president. Those variations can be legitimate, but this record does not explain them.
Now the money.
Oh, it's always about the money.
The complaint attaches 4 payments: a $9,000 check marked as 3 months of consulting fees, a $3,000 check, a $1,500 check, and a $1,500 PayPal payment. Total $15,000. That payment pattern does not match the $4,000 monthly figure written in the contract. Later, timesheets used $50 an hour in Allison's answer. She said the client asked to reduce her schedule from full-time to part-time in a telephone conversation. That could help explain why the amounts changed, but the written exhibit does not contain the amendment spelling out the new arrangement. So, the documents show 3 compensation frames.
That's a hard word to say.
A $4,000 retainer, payments apparently based on $3,000 and then $1,500 a month, and $50 hourly timesheets. That proves no wrongdoing, but it shows why written amendments matter.
So, Protomics alleged that the engagement lasted from July 2022 until January 18th, 2023, and that no complete grant application was submitted during those 6 months. That right there is important. The company claimed that the main item produced was an initial National Science Foundation pre-submission, which the complaint says allowed the company to move to a full application. Now, I don't know a lot about grant writing, but I do know that means it opens up doors for them for larger grants or different types of grants.
Okay.
So that could be why that this is really important, because he was probably missing out on a lot of grant money that he could have used. So
Protomics alleged that the pre-submission relied heavily on the company's work, took 6 weeks instead of 1, and that a replacement later found little NSF work after September and completed a submission within 2 weeks. These claims were not tested at trial.
do we know what the NSF might mean?
I don't know what the NSF means. Full disclosure, if we don't know what it means, we'll just tell you that.
Because I know it, like in financial terms, it means not sufficient funding.
Oh, okay.
The messages do show some missed expectations, though. On July 22nd, Allison said she anticipated having a grant either submitted or ready for submission by the week of August. But by October 11th, she was discussing a much longer NSF proposal and said she would push to meet an internal October 18th deadline. Although she warned she might go past it. So she's already setting up, hey, I'm going to have it done by August, but it might be October, but...
Yeah, it is a familiar pattern that we're going to see here, folks. That October email contains more proofreading mistakes in headings, justification, collaborators, and affiliations are all misspelled. A typo in an email is not the same as a typo in an email is not the same as a defective grant. Sorry, but again, proofreading is not incidental to grant writing. It is a part of the product. You have to know how to write.
I'm gonna go drive this car, but I don't know how to drive it. I don't have a key.
I mean,
on October 17th, Allison acknowledged that the October 18th date would be missed and that she was hitting the writing hard and would finish as quickly as possible.
No,
she didn't even proofread.
The exhibits also document travel, family emergencies, illnesses, farm problems.
I'm so sorry.
I kid you not, there's a text message screenshot. Let's see if I can pull it up.
It's in the complaint, that's right.
It is insane with this girl.
And I did go back and try and look for the conferences that were in New York and Texas and all these places that she said she had traveled during that time. Stay tuned. That it's a list.
Okay, here's some of
There we are.
Nearly back to my office, went out for a family dinner as well and got caught in traffic. Oh, did you? Did you really?
Did you really even go out to eat? We have to question everything. I do remember seeing that. It was about a sheep, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, yeah. So it documents that she had excuses to travel and family
here we go.
emergencies, illnesses. Here we
Hey,
go.
John, just letting you know, I'm not in the office today. I have 200 head of sheep giving birth at my farm. And my farmhand is out with COVID. I'll work on the email you sent me this evening if I get a chance, but birthing will likely extend into the next couple of days. What sheep?
Somebody in the family, please tell.
Sounds like.
Let us know about these sheep in this farmhand because it sounds so. Whew. Okay, so that shows that they had issues with family emergencies, illness, farm problems, conferences, and public service work.
Yeah.
Is that community service?
I don't know. That's a good question. Would make sense, right? But at various points, Allison mentioned a training trip to Washington. Oh, this Washington trip.
Okay. Yep.
This is a whole other sideshow that we are not going to do an episode on. We'll just briefly mention it. But this Washington trip actually did happen. She was a part of this, I don't know, kind of learning incentive program. I don't know what to describe it as. But she did make a trip to Washington. It actually outlines in here that she was. Oh, it gets so good because I think she lies to John, and it gets brought up in this lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So keep scrolling down. Let's see.
So I'm just reading through the list of excuses that were mentioned in the lawsuit.
Yeah. So so the Washington trip. Okay, go back down.
Hitting the right hard of this exhibit.
Okay.
There you are.
So yeah, the Arkansas governor. What is that about? What?
Like I couldn't find anything on that.
An event. She's claiming this sheep birthing experience and an event involving the Arkansas governor. I don't know what the world she's talking about, if that's even real. A conference in Minnesota, a chemistry lab visit in Wisconsin, a funeral, and a conference in Florida. My gosh.
Those events may all have been real.
Cough, cough. No, not really. Anyways.
She was actually, I think, around that time setting up the Ozark Safety Commons ordeal. Yeah. Protomics argued that, taken together, they showed delay and poor communication, and good on you, Protomics, because it did. That is the plaintiff's argument, and not a court finding about Allison's motives.
In December, Allison asked whether they were returning to full-time work or staying part-time. Protomics says it wanted full-time work to finish the NSF application and 2 more grants. On January 8th, Allison said she was finalizing 3 documents before moving to a final one.
Then on January 9th, she said she had gone to the emergency room and tested positive for both COVID and the flu, but was working from home and would send documents later. The client repeatedly asked for material and updates over the next several days and did not receive those.
The complaint also attached a public post dated January 16th about Allison appearing at a local radio station and helping launch a digital literacy program. This is what I was talking about. It was a digital literacy program. Protomics used that post to question the illness explanation, but a public appearance does not by itself mean that she was lying about being sick or, had not just fully recovered. At most, the post added to the client's suspicion and frustration.
But on January 18th, Allison ended the relationship immediately. Her letter said AMD had fulfilled its contractual role to the best of its ability, but it had also identified the NSF application as work in progress and recommended that another local firm finish it as soon as possible.
That is an internal tension worth noticing. The letter claims fulfillment while acknowledging unfinished work and recommending a replacement. There is also the contract's 14 business day notice clause. The Protomics alleged that the immediate termination breached that provision.
So I also read, just to clarify a little point here, they're still wanting to do business after she terminates the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on just a second, guys. We've got to pull up a cord here.
Yep.
Okay. So Allison's termination letter said future contractual obligations should stop and that additional communication would be treated as harassment and sent to attorneys. In her later court response, she said she ended the relationship because of behavior she viewed as threatening and did so for her personal safety. This is where
like we, preface this. This is just a court filing. This is not a finding of guilt. But there is actually towards the end of these messages where, I believe there's a call made to John from Allison, where it sounds as though her boyfriend made some threatening statements.
Yes. And I believe it was John that actually said, do not have him contact me again. Yes. So when she says that the threatening behavior was on, she felt it was threatening on her behalf, it was actually John that had proof that said, don't well, first of all, why is your boyfriend communicating, which is now husband, I'm assuming, communicating with your contractual partner?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
This man is being left on red a lot.
Yeah, and it's all in the all of those are in the complaint. We're not giving you information that we found out there digging around and somebody sent to us. This is in the complaint.
Yeah, that's where he sends a screenshot of where she's at
when she says she has COVID. So,
okay, let me fix our camera.
We just blurred out. Stand by. So sorry. Yeah, I read that earlier today, and I'm like, what? Had acted in good faith.
Is our camera fixed?
Yeah. Yes, but it's down a little bit. So sorry. We are such baby podcasters that we do apologize. You're learning right along with us. So when Allison eventually answered the complaint, she denied that Protomic's allegations. She said she had acted in good faith and performed the agreed work from July 11th through January the 18th. And her account was that she initially worked 30 to 40 hours per week, that Mr. Callahan later asked her to reduce her schedule, and that she had performed research, networking, grant planning, proposal work, NSF work, meetings, and other agreed tasks. She said the categories of work had been discussed and verbally approved, and that her communications and timesheets kept the client informed.
Yeah, this is the text message, by the way, where he says, Allison, this is very serious. First, never have your boyfriend call me again. If he does, there will be no further talks between us, and I will settle this in court as fraudulent activity. Second, you need to call me and work this out. You need to call me tonight. Lastly, I know your mom didn't. Oh no, Angela enters the chat.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Oh,
she plays it off like it's her mom.
Okay, so second, you need to call me, work this out. You need to call. I know your mom didn't call me. It was you, and that's when I knew I was dealing with you and not um,
dealing with
you, not meeting deadlines. It's up to you if you want to handle this like a mature adult. No, she won't. No, she won't. She don't do that. Or if you want to handle this in court, we can still work this out.
He's still like, Miss Betty was still like, I want to continue to do business with you. She's still having the best of hope in these people. This guy's like, hey.
You don't want to think that your money's gone. You want to think that maybe something just tragically happened and
it did.
There's an
200
explanation.
Sheep.
Huh?
All 200 head of sheep are giving birth, according to how she wrote that.
Where are these sheep now? Where is this money now? These are the questions that need answered. Okay.
We're gonna have to subpoena PayPal for the metadata on that account. That's what
we don't have subpoena power.
The detective does, though.
Okay, so she also said that she offered to teach the client about the grant process. Does she even know?
No.
Okay, that Potomacs had not shown actual harm and that she had the right to terminate for safety reasons. She asked the court to dismiss the complaint and award her costs.
Those are Allison's claims, just as the earlier performance claims are Potomac's. The docket does not show a trial deciding the quality of the grant work or the merits of the case, really. What it did was...
Yeah, the procedural history is important because service of the lawsuit became a fight of its own.
Wow. That sounds so familiar to this story.
Because the docket shows multiple attempts to serve the defendants in 2023, an extension of time, and eventually a warning order process through publication.
Yeah, so what that means is that you can get service on somebody if they've been dodging service by process server or a restricted letter. You can post in the local paper this lawsuit has been filed against you. Please come forward for service. You publish it. I think it's 3 times, like 3 consecutive weeks. It may be longer, it may be shorter. It's been 20 years, 30 years since I've done that work. But then once it's been published for a certain amount of time, the warning order publication is the service on the person.
Gotcha.
It's been, we've told you to come forward. You haven't come forward. This is complete service.
Yeah.
Which is how a lot of default judgments are entered. So Allison, representing herself, moves to dismiss for insufficient service. Ooh, I just hate when they say that because it was sufficient. She said attempts had been made at incorrect addresses and challenged the plaintiff's account of trying to reach her. I hope y'all heard me roll my eyes. Potomac's responded that service complied with Arkansas rules of civil procedure.
On February 29th, 2024, Potomac's and its lawyer appeared for a hearing. Allison and AMD did not appear. In an order entered in March, the judge denied Allison's service motion, gave her 15 days to answer, and entered a default judgment against AMD Consultation Firm, LLC.
The proper. That is how it's actually
filed with
filed
the
with the
state.
state, yeah. So that order awarded Potomac's their $15,000 against AMD, plus annual interest at 7.5%, and required the company to file a verified schedule of property. That's important, guys, right there.
A default judgment is a real court order, but it is not the same thing as a verdict after both sides present evidence. Default means the judgment was entered because the business failed to answer or defend as required. The judge did not conduct a full trial deciding whether every allegation in the complaint was true.
I wish he would have.
Me too.
Because then we would have had documentation that she didn't actually even graduate homeschool. But Allison did file her answer in April. Protomics argued it was 2 days late and asked the court to strike it and enter a default against her personally as well.
But the docket does not show a personal default judgment against Allison. Instead, in September 2024, Protomics voluntarily asked to dismiss. The court entered an order saying the motion was granted and this case was dismissed without prejudice.
And like we've said before, without prejudice means that the dismissal itself is not a final decision on the merits, and it leaves open the possibility that it can be refiled subject to procedural rules and deadlines in the future.
Here's the complication. The docket contains the earlier $15,000 default judgment against AMD. The later dismissal order broadly says this case is dismissed, but it does not expressly say the AMD judgment is vacated, satisfied, or extinguished.
No, it's so the default judgment itself is saying you owe this man $15,000 at 7.5% interest until it's paid in full. So it's still accumulating interest from the time that default judgment was entered. So he basically say he could get $18,000 out of it when it's all said and done, and that depends on if that company ever decides, if they ever get any more financial gain, he's got a lien on it. So a default judgment makes it like a workman's lien, like you can't do any more work or receive any more funds until I'm paid in full. So he might be successful. I don't know. But Arkansas finality rules in multi-party cases are technical. So we will not say that the judgment unquestionably survived or unquestionably disappeared. The record does not answer that cleanly. Present enforceability would require legal analysis and confirmation from the clerk of any enforcement records, meaning we don't know that any payments have been made on it because it's not going to show that since the case has been dismissed without prejudice. So
what we can say is precise. A court entered a $15,000 default judgment against the company AMD. No trial established the truth of every allegation. No personal judgment against Allison appears in the docket we reviewed, and the case was later dismissed after a broad dismissal without prejudice.
So, but when you go back and you pull up the legal procedure, this file is a study in mismatched expectations and documentation that never fully catches up, and I really wish that it had, because we did reach out to Mr. Callahan on several different outlets.
Tried. We don't know if we got the right guy, but
we're pretty sure we did, though.
Anyone in Georgia, if you know what we're talking about, please share this. We would love to get in contact with Thomas Callahan or
John. Yeah.
John Callahan. So the pitch promises exceptional learning speed and confidence in handling an unfamiliar technical field. The contract says $4,000 per month, but the payments and timesheets follow different models. The scope carries another client's name
that we will be looking into.
The messages promise near-term progress, while the complaint describes delays. The termination says the role was fulfilled, while also identifying unfinished work.
So it's so contradictory, everything. And the writing errors matter, not because perfect grammar makes someone honest,